like I really wanted to record this because every message that I have shared with you people have been my favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ours too. Yeah, 100%. Like Coimbatore was best.
Yeah, every time. I think we have 3 or 4 sessions now so far. So everything was favorite, and the grace of God has been so good, and the things we enjoyed, and the matter that comes out, like there's not every crowd that gets this. Okay, so praise God for everything, and for everybody who's been a part of leading this team. Okay, so since पुणे का प्लान वैसे अचानक था, लेकिन we had no वैसे आने के लिए कोशिश. We had a trip to Mumbai and Jaipur. I just thought, okay, I'll go to Pune and come. I told Mani that we will be coming, so we are here. So since the time I'm here, I have certain things to share and talk. So I'll be putting those things out. Okay, but I do not have blessing words as much. so that's why I really waited so much to share. Already even the last time or the last time when we shared certain things, things were on the disciplinary area. So probably this is also another note on that side, right? So from first, let me start from a way there. How many of you like Catherine Kuhlman? Heard of Catherine Kuhlman? Want to be like Catherine Kuhlman? You want such things such as that happen to Catherine Kuhlman to happen in your lives, right? To save time, I keep things blunt. The message of grace that we take stands against those kind of flows. Right? So I said I'm speaking things blunt, okay? Especially for people who watch the video again, I want to make that clear. I'm taking things blunt, okay? So the message of grace, the one who is walking with the message of grace finds it difficult to see such manifestations as such that happened in the ministry of Catherine Kuhlman. Right? Because the depth of commitment, the depth of responsibility, the depth of hunger, the depth of valor, the depth of stubbornness, the depth of audacity, all these are much lacking in grace-taught community. Agreed? So now is the breed of this community that is understanding grace coming up, and we are forerunners in this run. Okay, so to the best of my understanding, I would say that this flow of grace and this understanding of grace has been getting stronger maybe for the past 5-6 decades or 6 something, so I believe that now is the time where another kind of reformation comes into the grace message, right? And that is disciplines in grace. Okay. So I think the last time even I've told, in military you have lot of blessings. You enroll, you become the property of the military, and your kana, pina, kapda, sab, every daily need is met by the country, right? That your country is due to you to make sure you are clothed, and so that's the same way God has called us. That's the same way we are. So hum uska hai, all that. But military demands every day. Right? So we are kings and priests. The demand that the military is putting up, there was no need for the people in the military to understand the demand. ये क्यों बोल रहा है? ये करने से क्या लाभ है? They don't need those understanding. 1,000 push-ups, no question, right? 200 kilometers, 200 kilometers. With this much weight, with that much weight. No questions asked. But he's under grace. You understand? Unlike every other citizen walking on the road who has the free will to decide what to do and what not to do. This guy who is under grace, who is the property of the country, is being put into many things. Insults, this word really came today. Like, put yourself into insults. Let me ask you, after coming into grace, how many such places have you been where you've been insulted? Compare the life previous. For sure, there will be nothing or less, right? So, we need to know what are the elements that a solid man of God should have. See, you say you are under grace and you are your own master, right? You don't need anybody to train or whatever. You are all powerful. The Spirit of God teaches you everything. The Spirit Himself will teach and guide you. All that is there. I'm not talking against that. This is all true, right? But earlier, when there was a priest and some hierarchy, there was somebody to tell the community, this is how it is. There was somebody to demand. And now there is nobody to demand. Who is going to demand? You have to be the person that demands things out of you. You have to be the person that demands and disciplines yourself. Let me tell you a good example which I told yesterday. After 10 o'clock, okay, this comes on two parts. Keeping your mouth from unbelief and knowing the things. This example will put things clear for you. A lady who is not taught grace says, 10 बजे के बाद बाहर नहीं जाना है, कुछ हो जाएगा, कोई किडनैप करके जाएगा. These things will be in their vocabulary. मत जाओ, गुम हो जाओगे, मत जाओ, accident हो जाओ, fast मत चलाओ, accident हो जाएगा. These things they speak. But when you are under grace, do you have the freedom to go out anytime, anywhere? Do you have the freedom to ride jitna bhi chaho, utna speed gaadi? However, the gaadi will go to 400, 500. I can test it. I am under grace. So where is the line and who draws it and how do you draw it? Who has the answer for this? According to me, I don't see people preaching on these skills. But the community that is coming, the generation that is coming back needs to know. I tell my children, you love your father, not because what he gives you. You just love your father because you love your father. You understand? I love my parents just because you cannot say I love my parents for who they are. Even if you put the phrase in that manner, it is something that you are getting from there, you are giving. I love my parents because I love my parents. So can you say the same thing? I obey my parents because I obey my parents. Or I obey my parents because I love my parents. Do we do that? We ask this. इसको कर लो ना, क्यों करना है? इसमें लाभ क्या है? I am under grace. Why can't I go this far? Why should I do this? God has done everything. Why should I, fast and pray? Why should I fast and pray? Jesus prayed for everything. I am under grace. I can stretch my hands and this will happen. I can do that and this will happen. I don't have to toil. I don't have to go under pain. I don't have to, Hunger is hurting, be it under grace or not. You understand? Hunger is hurting, be it under grace or under law. So hunger is a very important element for a great or a supernatural flow of the supernatural. You understand? So what these kind of hunger should be with us. Like the 10 o'clock, you don't go out, stay here. When a mother who is word taught is saying this, don't go, stay here, she doesn't have to say it is 10 o'clock. You understand? If she is saying it is 10 o'clock, don't go out, that in itself becomes a statement of unbelief. because she is projecting something bad could happen, and so she tells the baby not to. You understand that?
Yes.
Very important that we catch these things. But when you speak, you say don't go, and they train the child in a manner that when you said, the child obeys, and the child, you know what, doesn't go, or he obeys what the mother says. Clear? So this is one important fact of having how to say having a disciplinary mentality under grace. Right now, when I said this, one verse when he said, your righteousness should be far better, or it should be bit higher than the righteousness of the Pharisees. So how do you understand that? Speak up. Everyone's eyes are going up. How do you understand that? You got the scripture? Jesus says your righteousness should be at least greater than the righteousness of the Pharisees. How will be that happening in our lives?
Try not to be a hypocrite and show as if like.
Like for example, a hypocrite fasts 2 days a week. Okay, so if my righteousness should be greater than him, I should fast minimum of more than. सही है? समझ में आ रहा बात? Like that, you understood? So grace has come, and I do not have to do anything on condition. But when you check, my lifestyle will be far better than a person who is under the law. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is when my righteousness is greater than a hypocrite or somebody, a Pharisee, or who, I don't know whether it is. It is not written
Matthew
hypocrite.
5:20.
Pardon?
When I say to you, unless your righteousness exceed the righteousness of scribes and Pharisees.
Yeah, scribes and the Pharisees. It's not hypocrites. Sorry. Understand? Scribes and Pharisees are the people who are under the law, who studied the law, who taught the law, who are examples for the people of how to live, what are God's demand, क्या करना है, ये सब पढ़ने वाले हैं वो लोग. So and God tells to his disciples, your righteousness should be greater than their righteousness. When you will start living under grace. Jesus has come to introduce grace. These people are learning grace. They are in a transitional phase where they will be living under grace after Jesus Christ. But he tells them your righteousness should be greater than them. How will their righteousness be greater than them? From their actions. From their fruit, the tree is known. Right? So what are your fruits? We don't sin, that is fine. But in certain disciplines that are promotive to the stability or certain disciplines that are promotive to the stability of a Christians, people under grace do not do. You understand?
Yeah.
You are praying 24 hours a day. Grace has set you free. I don't have to pray. But now you should be praying 48 hours.
Yeah.
Because grace has set you free. Out of love. Out of the overflow of this grace. You understand?
Yes.
And even when I say this message, this should not be going into your hearts in a hurting manner. This should go in a loveful manner. If you are receiving it in a hurting manner, you have not been set free. You are not fit to listen this message. You understand?
Yes.
So, so people can say, प्रभु परमेश्वर मोसेस को एक बोला था, मोसेस का इंटरप्रिटेशन ऐसा था उसका because of his mental, ये सब बोल सकते हैं. But was not God behind that? Right? So now when we are in grace, does not God expect these things to happen? Where does the coke that you drink go? Does not that go into your body? Doesn't that do anything?
Yes.
You understand? So this thing that I say, you should understand as a manner of life. मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ इसको एक लॉ नहीं है, क्या बोलो उसको,
pattern.
Take it as a pattern, apply it on all manner, and find the right way of living a productive life under grace. See, I have heard people who went through, Charis Bible College, and then they came to my training. Then they said we were under Charis Bible College, so we got to know these things, and we were set free for life. But we knew that sickness-free life and these things were there. But when we attended Leo, it is when we got to know that this could be given for others. So in the same manner, people have known grace and kept grace for their benefit. Listen to me carefully. People have known grace and kept grace. We are keeping grace for our benefit. But grace was not given for your benefit. It was given for the benefit of the gospel to expand.
Amen.
Not for the benefit of the gospel, but for the gospel to expand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I say grace was given for the expansion of the kingdom. Expansion of the gospel. जब grace आया, gospel और gospel should have spread more powerful. Somebody with grace is winning 100. Somebody with the law is winning 100. Someone with grace should be winning 10,000.
Yeah.
But अभी यहाँ का उल्टा है. Somebody with grace is living a free life. The militant attitude that was under people who was preaching the law is not now seen under the people who are listening grace. What will bring that? Now ask again, the militant attitude that was under people who were listening to the law or preaching the law is not now found among the people who are listening the message of grace. They pattern their life in a comfortable manner. घर मिल गया, परिवार मिल गया, शांति मिल गया, आनंद मिल गया, कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, संडे चर्च जाने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. Nobody is asking or calling for anything. There is no demands of any kind set on me, because I am under grace. But when you are a king and when you are a priest, when you have the royal priesthood upon you, Jesus has given his job on your shoulders. You hold on your shoulder the need that everybody in the whole world needs salvation. Being a co-heir means that the whole world is not saved. Imagine how many people are sick, how many people are without food, how many people are without a house, how many people are without good education. Everybody is waiting for you. That is how a person who is born again, who is telling that he is a co-heir of God, should count. Do we have that mentality? Do we have that thirst? Do we have that hunger? Do we plan to meet and supply and fix all these problems? We don't have that. Because of grace, I'll get money. Because of grace, I'll get business. Because of grace, I'll get car. Because of grace, I'll get a good living. Why don't you believe, or why doesn't it hit your brains that because of grace you can reach 1 million? Who's going to talk about that? Because of grace, I'll take India, one person. I alone. Because grace is with me. Because Jesus is with me. Because provision is with me. Because I have been supplied. I can ask for anything and a God kind of supply will be available. Because of that, I alone, a single person, will be able to take India. Does our mind comprehend that far? There is none to talk about this. समझ में आ रहा? So that's why I said put yourself into insults, put yourself into pain, push yourself, put yourself into disciplines, put yourself into hunger, because grace is not demanding anything out of you. You, out of the love for the Father and out of the love for the neighbor, you will put out. I will stretch myself this far. When you know the heart of the Father, all these things will just, flow out. हमारी भलाई के लिए जितना परमेश्वर का मन है उतना तक जान लेते हैं. We understand the heart of God to an extent where it is enough for the needs of our life to be met. We don't understand the heart of God beyond that. Whereas the people of old who did not know the message of grace, who were preaching the law, went the far extent of how God was crying for souls, how God was weeping for the nations to be saved. They had the idea of what the heart of God was. When there is thousands standing, when there is 1,000,000 standing before you, what does the crowd need? The person that was standing on the stage was able to comprehend the heart of God. He was able to move with compassion for all of them. Tell me how many move with compassion under grace? ये कभी कभी इधर उधर आता है. I was moved with compassion. But सड़क करके टूर करके healing करते हैं. See, healing has become nothing, That's good. In a period when healing became nothing and it was kind of not personally benefiting me, I stopped doing healings and I focused on other things. But now I would say, on one side, the way that we do healings, we deliver people should happen. This is my lifestyle. Okay? So, I can do that. But on the other side, I should see the heart of the Father. I should cultivate these kind of things and pattern myself for my own good and for the goodness of the gospel. You should have tables like, इतने बजे उठते हैं, इतने बजे सोने जाते हैं, इतने बजे प्रार्थना करते हैं, इतने बजे टंग टॉक करते हैं, इतने लंबा टंग टॉक करते हैं. एक हफ्ते में मतलब इतना, in a week we should have had covered this many chapters, we should have covered this many sermons, we should have understood this many things, we should have been having such a tight fellowship with the Father, we should have this many evangelical time, this many people I should have met, this many healings I should have done. You should keep some or the other milestone or mark. There is nobody in anything who wins anything without setting milestones. Then how will that happen in grace? Take a boxer, take a sportsman, any sportsman. Paul writes about fitness. What does he write? Physical exercise profits nothing, but से आगे क्या आता है?
Physical exercise profits less.
Little. आगे क्या है?
Godliness profits in all.
Right? So why does he compare exercise? See, are we without emotions? We do have, right? So are we growing in areas? Are we growing in areas? Yes. Are the things happening around us, making sure that we are growing? Answer me. Are we growing? Are we growing in different areas? Are the things that are happening around us support and benefit us in growing? Yes or no? If you say yes to all the three questions, I am telling you, you should have milestones. Right? If you say I am well grown, I am perfectly as Jesus, I don't see anything where I am growing, I will not tell you this. Right? What does the Bible say? The fivefold ministry is there to make sure that you are full grown to the measure of Jesus Christ. What does the fivefold ministry do? What is the difference? Let's see. What is the difference between an evangelist and a prophet? What is the difference between a prophet and a teacher? What is the difference between somebody who is teaching and or क्या है उसमें? And a pastor and an apostle? What are their elements? What do you learn from them? Are they not people? Do not they teach from their lifestyle? Or their lifestyle is not different? Don't you want to learn their habits of them? Don't you want to inculcate those habits in you? Add to godliness, brotherly kindness, add to this, that. Your bread is not in Peter. Right? So what does that mean? You have milestone. You check your life. You check the fruits that are coming out of your life. And you feed your plant according to the need that is available. इसमें फल है, इसमें फल नहीं है, इसमें ये नहीं है, आके ये फल आने के लिए मेरे को ये फीड करना पड़ता है. I feed on this, then I'll be able to bear this fruit. I feed on this, I'll be able to bear that fruit. That judgment we should have, and we should feed ourselves on different areas and see the result of it in different places. And that is what I call as milestones. And when you don't set like, सुबह इतने बजे उठूंगा, इतने बजे ये करूंगा, वो करूंगा. When I say all this, people think like, it's a law hai, discipline hai, we are set free from grace, we are free. You are free, you are not called to be carefree. You understand? You are free, you are not called to be careless. Right? A military officer, just as Manoj was telling about his grandfather, the period of his military training has trained him to be a kind of man which he was not able to let out. That lifestyle was sticking to him all the way through his life. That is how he was living. You understand? Kali बैठ नहीं सकता उसमें. But we under grace, what do? You should train yourself where you cannot go a day without saving a soul. There were people who were crying for hunger, who were crying that Lord, give us some thirst, give us some, we want to cry for people, we want to have that hunger, we want to see the heart of God, we want to know what should happen. समझ में आ रहा है?